I was still wearing my corporate badge when I saw my son lying collapsed at the front door. His face was drained of color, breaths shallow and uneven, fingers twisted like he'd tried to shield himself. And then I saw him. My brother. No, the man I once called my brother, resting against the hallway wall with a careless slouch. "Just disciplined him," he said, casually, like he was commenting on clutter. My parents emerged from the living room. Their faces were hardened, unmoving. "He needed it," my mother said. My father didn't even glance at my son. He stared at me instead, daring me to protest. My hands shook, but not from fear, from clarity. I called emergency services. When the medic arrived, he crouched beside my son, then lifted his eyes toward my brother and froze. "Ma'am, is that really your brother?" he murmured, stopping himself mid-thought. But his expression answered the rest. Something was deeply wrong with who that man truly was. And in that moment, everything aligned. I used to idolize him. We were only 2 years apart. He was the golden child, the one my parents worshipped. I learned young that my role was to admire him. He performed it flawlessly, protector, guide, the one who always knew better. He held me when I cried, told me the world was brutal, but family was safe. I believed him. I believed all of them, but no mask survives scrutiny. It started with my son, bruises he tried to hide, the way he flinched when the doorbell rang, how he refused to be alone with my brother, not even briefly. "Did something happen?" I asked. He always shook his head too fast. Children think silence keeps peace. Then I noticed it, my son instinctively stepping aside whenever my brother came near. No child moves like that unless fear has trained them. I installed cameras, hidden ones, and that's when something inside me went cold. The footage showed him entering my house when I wasn't home, speaking to my son in a voice I didn't recognize. Not instructive, destructive. Then the slap. Another and another. Controlled, rehearsed, enjoyed. I watched the screen like I was witnessing a stranger committing violence beneath my family name. When I confronted my parents with the recordings, they didn't hesitate. "He's strengthening the boy," my father said. "This is how we raised you," my mother added. That's when I understood. I hadn't been raised by flawed people. I'd been raised by monsters, and I had mistaken cruelty for care. I didn't yell. I didn't plead. Emotion is useless with predators. I started planning. My brother was their son, their pride, their justification, so I aimed at what they never imagined I would: the truth. I investigated, and the medic's hesitation that night confirmed what I already suspected. First step, I had every injury documented: patterns, timelines, photographs. Second, I took my son to a child psychologist, creating a professional record. Third, I contacted a social worker I trusted and filed a quiet report. The fourth step belonged to me alone. I searched for my brother's original birth certificate. The story never aligned. The dates, the whispers of adoption, the missing year in family albums. When I finally accessed old hospital records, the truth was precise and merciless. My parents' first child had died at birth. Instead of grieving, they replaced him. An illegal switch, a stolen identity. He wasn't their biological son. He wasn't my brother. He had lived under a name that was never his, protected by parents too ashamed to admit what they'd done. A stolen child with stolen entitlement. When police arrived, quietly called by the social worker, he laughed. "You really think anyone can touch me?" I handed the officers the files. Hospital records, signatures, DNA confirmation. His confidence drained slowly, like realizing solid ground was gone. "You're not who you think you are, and you're not family." My parents reached for the papers. Too late. The officers read everything. The medic stepped forward, confirming the identity inconsistencies he'd noticed earlier. The man who posed as my brother was arrested for assault. My parents were detained for questioning over the identity fraud. Their entire structure of lies collapsed in a single night. I didn't destroy it. I simply tipped the first piece. My son sleeps peacefully now. No flinching, no shadows. The house is quiet without their voices. Quiet, but clean. People say revenge burns hot. They're wrong. Revenge is clinical, cold, exact. The careful removal of rot so healing can begin. As I watch my son breathe safely beside me, I understand something clearly. I didn't lose a brother. I learned I never had one, and I am finally free.